Final picture that I'll be posting from my Boundary Waters trip this summer. If you're sick of these photos by now, too bad. It's my blog. I can post the photos I want. If you're not sick of them, great. I hope you enjoy this final picture. This was the last picture I shot during the entire trip. Once again, with my mobile phone. I could have used my Fuji for this, but I just didn't want to dig it up, and it was still raining, so I didn't want to get it wet. And as we were, this is shot after the final rowing, canoe ride, whatever you call it, across. This is Clearwater Lake, and we finally made it back to the outfitters where we're disembarking and getting ready to get in the car and go back home. So this is the last photo I took. I quick ran out on the dock and snapped 2 or 3 pictures because I really liked the overcast sky. It had this really cool mood about it, and this is it. I liked this photo the best. Cool little Easter egg. If you look very closely on the right-hand side, right in the middle of the lake, there's a loon, a Minnesota loon, which is the state bird. And if you have never heard the call of a loon in the early morning or the late evening, it's really something special. And if you live in Minnesota or just vacation in Minnesota, it's kind of unique to that part of the country. Not Minnesota necessarily, but that part of the country. It's just a really cool bird call to hear. So it's neat that one of those loons showed up in my picture. You can barely see it, but it's definitely a loon. To me, this photo means a lot because it's the trip this morning on the morning I shot this was just, it was awful. It rained all through the night before this, and my hammock was leaking. The cover on my hammock was leaking, and we were just soaked as we were heading out from the campsite that morning. The wind was so bad. We were against the wind the entire way back. We had to portage a couple times, and it was just cold and muddy. And this is Clearwater Lake, and this is the final stretch, and yet like all the forces of nature were against us. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I'm not complaining. It was just, man, it was like several hours of paddling this 3-person canoe directly against the wind, and in all these with all the elements that nature had to throw at us that morning, and not to mention the fact that we are carrying our gear with us, which is hundreds of pounds. And then we finally, you could see the end as you're coming around the bend in the lake, and it seems like you'll never get there, and you slowly but surely keep paddling, and then you finally make it. And it's just, there's nothing like that feeling right there. And when I see this picture, I remember the trip, and it was such a unique experience, and this picture helps me remember it. Incidentally, along with the loon, way in the very middle, way in the background, you see those cliffs. We were there on, I think, the previous day. We canoed over to Clearwater Lake from where we were at Caribou Lake, and ditched the canoe at the side of the lake and kind of hiked up. It'd be generous to call it a trail. It was like a couple clearings in the brush up to the top of one of those bluffs. I forget which one. But we're hundreds of feet up in the air, and you could see over the whole lake. It was really cool. I thought about posting one of those photos here, but I don't know. It didn't seem as special as this one. And now I think it's time to move on to other photos from other things here on Weekly 50. I know I've posted others in the meantime since the Boundary Waters trip, but I think this is the last one I'm going to post, and I hope you like it. And if you ever get the chance to visit the Boundary Waters, I encourage you to do it.